edition of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
The Indians came so close to getting this homestand started on the right foot, but the Jays held on in the ninth for the 3-2 win. Justin Masterson kept Toronto's Big Poppers in check. Corey Kluber will try to duplicate that effort today. Opportunities have been there for the offense. Will they cash in? Find out next on Sports Time Ohio. The sun is shining, but the temperature a wee bit on the chilly side this afternoon as the Indians and the Toronto Blue Jays continue this three-game weekend series. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. Indians lost last night, and it was a tough loss in that, Rick, there's an old saying in baseball that momentum carries you as far as next day's starting pitcher. Okay, that's game to game. But within the game, there are momentum shifts. And for the Indians this year, it seems as though every time they score, the other team comes right back and answers.
Well, now it's a mentality, I think, that's getting into the heads of the Cleveland pitchers, because as a starting pitcher, when your offense comes up and they give you the lead, you certainly want to go back out and shut it down. Masterson walked the ninth-place hitter there with 2 outs, and then the rally continued. They ended up tying the ball game up and then taking the lead. Those are what we call response runs. And when your pitching staff gives up response runs, it takes the momentum right away from your offense, because when you're not scoring a lot of runs, you can't afford to give any up. And you can see in the 25 and the third innings, they've given up 31 runs after the Indians have either taken the lead, tied the game, or came within 1 run. Those are the innings you have to shut down, and it becomes a mentality, and the starters are going to have to learn how to put a goose egg on the board.
And what makes those numbers all the more important, so far this year, over the first 3 innings of the ball game, the Indians have been outscored by 14 runs. So they're playing from behind a lot, and there isn't much margin for error. Well, we'll see if the Indians can get back on the winning track and even the series up behind Corey Kluber. He's on the bump. The play-by-play is next. As we get ready for the second game of this 3-game weekend series between the Indians and the Blue Jays. Corey Kluber on the hill for the Indians. And standing in to get us underway for Toronto is Jose Reyes. And evidently they don't care that we're going to start early, as the pitch is in there for a strike.
We sure are. Kluber went out there, you're right after
44 degrees, our game time temperature. And Jose Reyes takes up and away. And the count 1 ball, 1 strike. Reyes had one at bat before he injured his hamstring this year. He's 30 years old, still a dynamic player, but staying on the field in recent years has been more of an issue for Reyes. As Dribble Cabrera grabs the pop-up one away. The rest of the Toronto lineup for John Gibbons and the Blue Jays is brought to you by Toyota. Melky Cabrera following Reyes, then Jose Bautista. Edwin Encarnacion in the cleanup spot, followed by Deanna Navarro, then Colby Rasmus, Brett Laurie, Juan Francisco in the lineup, DHing, batting 8th, and Ryan Goins will hit 9th.
A GMC pitcher this afternoon, Corey Kluber, his 4th start. He is 1-1, coming off a good start against the White Sox.
Pitch inside for ball 1. Cabrera lifts one fouled on the left side. I guess we shouldn't be all that surprised that Melky Cabrera had a 4-hit game last night. He hit in the first 14 games to start the year for Toronto. And that's the longest hitting streak to start a year in Blue Jay history.
Well, and his career numbers against Justin Masterson, who pitched last night, were phenomenal, and he continued those. This is Kluber's very first start against the Blue Jays in his career. Only 2 other teams he has not faced.
There's a smash in the air to right center field. David Murphy, a long run, and he can't make the catch. Ball hits near the base of the wall, and Cabrera's going to hoof it all the way to third for a 1-out triple, so he just continues to hit. Murphy got close to it. Now, that wind is blowing in. It gives you an idea how hard Melky Cabrera hit that ball. He hit it right into the wind, and it's still carried to the base of the wall in right center field.
I'll tell you what, he smoked that ball, and I can't believe it stayed in the ballpark. Look at him. He thinks, okay, I've got enough of it. But by Murphy getting out there, comes up short. That hit around the base of the wall, and it ends up hitting Murphy over there, so he can cruise into third easily. His first triple of the year.
And it brings up Jose Bautista now in an RBI situation. The infield will play back. Bautista last night was 0 for 3 with a couple of walks. One was intentional. Swings and lifts this one in the air. Shallow right. Long run for Murphy. He's not going to get there, and Swisher can't make the play. So the Blue Jays score first on a blast and a bloop.
Well, that's where the shift really hurt, because that fly ball went over behind first base, and there you had 3 infielders on the left side, and nobody's over there. The only one that can make that play is going to be Swisher. And you can see the wind pushing it back, so it really a tough play no matter how you look at it. And it comes up empty. That'll go as a base hit and a run scored. So Toronto will jump up early, 1-0. Weird play. That's a tough play.
And now Edwin Encarnacion. Once again, the Indians fall behind early. That has been a familiar theme that has not been conducive for the Indians in terms of winning ball games. Gets away from Gomes. Wow. And on the pass ball, Bautista into scoring position.
That's an easy pitch to handle. Don't know what happened there to Gomes, but that's a play that, I mean, did he call it? It's a strike, and he just doesn't catch it. It's right down the middle. I don't know what happened there, but it is a pass ball.
Encarnacion, 1 for 4 last night in the ball game. And that sails high. Encarnacion got off to a really tough start. He was just 3 for his first 24. Last 11 games, he's picked it up batting .317. That fastball hit on the ground to third. Aviles looks him back. And now Bautista's going to try to go to third, and he will, but there are 2 down.
Check out the Kia Indians defense behind Kluber this afternoon. It looks like this. Rayburn gets the start in left field. Michael Brantley in center. Murphy's over in right. Mike Aviles at third. Cabrera the shortstop. Kipnis at second. Swisher is at first with Gomes behind the plate. You can see 16 errors this year for the Tribe's defense. That's most in the league.
Crew Chief Dale Scott calling the balls and strikes today. Ron Colpo, C.B. Buckner, and Trip Gibson on the bases. Deanna Navarro will be the batter. Switch hitting catcher with Bautista at third and 2 down here in the opening frame. A little bit outside for ball 1. Kluber deals, and it's fouled right back. Well, Toronto now 8-1 on the year. When they score first, they didn't have a loss until the other day against Minnesota in that doubleheader. Back out of play. In 16 games, the Indians have scored a total of 17 runs over the first 3 innings. So when you average basically a run over the first 3 innings per game, you're
playing from behind.
A lot of times you're going to be playing from behind. 1-2 pitch. It hit up Swisher, and Toronto leads it 2-0. That ball was hit really hard, and Swisher got in front of it. And I'm not sure if he got leather on it or if it hit off his shoulder or what. But
I don't know.
Carried him high in the air and just kept on going.
Interesting to see. It looked like it was going to be a one-hopper, but I don't know if that ball took a bad hop on him. Check his shoulder out. It hit the grass and really skipped on him. Yeah, side of the head maybe. Shoulder or the side of the head. That'll be a base hit, but there's a ball. I don't know if it skipped on the grass on him or what happened, but a 2-out RBI by Navarro.
2-0 Blue Jays. Colby Rasmus, the batter. And Kluber with a first pitch strike. Colby Rasmus, 1 for 4 with a double last night. That one right off the mask of Gomes into the backstop. And it's 0-2. Toronto at 9-8 on the year. Is a game off the pace in the AL East. New York 10-7, then Baltimore 8-7, followed by Toronto. And Tampa Bay at 8-9, followed by Boston at 7-10. Two-strike pitch. Again, it's fouled back. In the American League Central Division, very tight. Detroit at the top with a 7-6 mark, followed by Kansas City at 8-7. Minnesota at 8-8. And the White Sox 8-9, and the Indians 7-9. Just a game and a half separating all 5 teams, which is the tightest division thus far in baseball. Popped him up, left field, and that's Mike Aviles giving way to Ryan Rayburn, who makes the catch. Toronto strikes for 2. The Indians are coming to bat when we return. Cleveland Indians baseball is brought to you by McDonald's. I'm loving it. By your local Toyota dealers. Visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. By Panini's. Get overstuffed at Panini's Bar and Grill. And by Jeep. Visit Jeep.com to learn more. Bottom of the first, the Indians starting lineup for Terry Francona is brought to you by Progressive. As Drupal Cabrera leading it off, followed by Nick Swisher and then Jason Kipnis, Santana, Rayburn, Brantley, Gomes, Murphy, and Aviles. Line drive base hit by Asdrubal Cabrera. And the Indians have their leadoff man aboard.
Let's check out the key Blue Jays defense this afternoon behind Burley. It's Cabrera in left, Rasmussen center, Bautista in right, Laurie at third, Reyes at short, Goins at second, Encarnacion at first, Navarro behind the plate. And our GMC pitcher, Mark Burley, he's off to a terrific start. 3-0. You can see the ERA. 21 innings, just 2 walks. And Burley has given up the 2 runs this year. One he's given up in the first, one he's given up in the second, and he hasn't given up any after that. So it seems like, to this point, you better get Burley, get him early. And nobody's really gotten him, but he has a history with the Indians, 15-17 in his career.
Well, there for so many years, it was an annual event facing Mark Burley where he'd get him 3, maybe 4 times a year when he was with the White Sox, but
yeah, a guy that works as quickly as any pitcher around. He, the quickest pitcher pitches at 15, just a little over 15 seconds per pitch. They time it. But he's a change-up master. He cuts it into the right-handers. He'll throw an occasional curveball. He just comes out. He throws strikes. He gets you to swing at his pitch. So you have to try and stay on the ball, and Cabrera had a good approach in that first at-bat.
Nick Swisher takes. He thought it was ball 4. Instead, Dale Scott says strike 2 and a full count. 15 seconds per pitch. That's right about where Rafael Betancourt is.
Yeah, before he comes set.
And a 3-2 is strike 3 called. Tough start to the day for Nick Swisher. 1 down here in the first. Keys to the game brought to you by Akron Children's Hospital. Talk about those shutdown innings. We mentioned it in the open. And for the Indians offensively, look to be aggressive against Mark Burley. Jason Kipnis coming off a 3-hit night. Then he hit him. And now the Indians have 2 on with 1 out.
Second guy Burley has hit this year. And he's trying to get inside on him, and that ball just stayed inside. It looked like it caught him just above the elbow, back part of the arm. So they'll have 2 runners aboard. And this is where Mark Burley gets tough. With runners on, hitters are just 3 for 31. With runners in scoring position, he's yet to give up a hit. Hitters are 0 for 21 against him. So the Indians with a chance to cut into that 2-0 lead here.
Santana 1 for 4 last night with a home run. It was his first home run of the year. And hopefully at least the beginnings of a sign that he is starting to come out of his offensive woes.
Well, he needed something very positive. He had a good walk in the 9th inning as well. You know, so you can't do it all in one game,
right.
And you're not going to do it all in one homestand. It's something you have to continually improve on every single day. So if you can take something positive out of every game and add to it the next day, before you know it, you'll be out of that slump and you'll be a lot more positive.
2 on, 1 out, 1-1 pitch, and a weak ground ball hit to short. Reyes to second. There's one on the first. An inning-ending double play. After 1, 2-0 Toronto. By your Northeast Ohio Honda dealers, by the Cleveland Clinic. Call today for an appointment today. And by the Northeast Ohio Ford dealers. Two nothing Toronto as we go to the second inning. It'll be the bottom third of the order due up for the Blue Jays. Brett Lawrie to lead it off. And it's low for ball 1. Lawrie had 1 hit last night. It proved costly for the Indians, and it wasn't much of a hit. He hit a little topper, broke his bat, but it was hit in a perfect spot where the runner from third was able to score easily, and Carlos Santana tried to make a bare hand play on the ball and throw Lawrie out at first, but he was unsuccessful. 3-1 to count. And Lawrie takes ball 4. First walk issued by Kluber.
No, Kluber. Follow every Indians game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Give live look-ins, instant replay, audio, scores, the free MLB game of the day, and more. Download on the App Store or visit Indians.com. Kluber had struck out 14 and no walks in his last 2 starts. That was his first walk in a while.
Well, there's Juan Francisco getting the call up. Inserted into the lineup in the DH spot. Juan Francisco, good power. We've seen him before with the Cincinnati Reds. Back in 2007, he led the Midwest League with 25 home runs. Led Cincinnati's system in homers in 2008 and 2009. In fact, Juan Francisco still owns the second longest home run ever hit at Great American Ballpark.
How far was that, does it say?
I believe it was 502.
No kidding. That's a cab ride.
Second only to Adam Dunn, who could hit him a country mile. Kluber ready with a 1-1. In for a strike. The problem for Juan Francisco, as is for a lot of power hitters, is strike zone discipline and swinging and missing a lot. Swing gets long, he'll chase a lot of bad pitches.
Like a lot of home run hitters, when they get hot, they can hit the long ball, and when they don't, they can swing and miss a lot.
The 1-2. Hit weakly towards the second base area, whereas Drupal Cabrera, the shortstop, makes the play with the shift on. Laurie is in the scoring position with one out for Ryan Goins, and we'll go downstairs and check in with Katie Witham, who has more on Corey Kluber and his plan of attack today.
Well, his plan of attack usually every day, Matt, is having a lot of movement on his pitches. He actually has a better feel and can command the ball better when he's got a lot of movement. You know, most pitchers tend to throw to the mitt. Corey Kluber doesn't exactly do that. He anticipates where the ball is going to go, and Mickey Callaway said the biggest surprise last year in the emergence of Corey Kluber was that he struggled at times with his command, but overnight it seemed to click, and it's because he's able to get so much movement.
Can be a double-edged sword at times with that movement. In there for a strike. You want to throw to a spot, and if it leaks back over in the middle of the plate, or that's sometimes where movement can be a problem, not an ally.
That is true, but you can't teach movement. Some pitchers, if you got a straight pitch, you can throw 96. If it's straight, it may be so much easier to hit than if you're throwing 92 and the thing's moving all over the place.
High fly ball into right field. Murphy backpedaling, and he'll make the catch on the warning track. 2 down. Laurie tags, goes to third. Don't forget you can tweet your photos to us by using hashtag STOFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown coming up later in the telecast. It's all brought to you by AT&T. Two down, runner at third, top of the order, Jose Reyes. Popped up on the infield. His first time up.
Yes,
they appeal, and he went around, says Trip Gibson down at third. Hard to believe that Reyes has 10 years in the big leagues. Career .292 hitter. With terrific speed. Has over 400 stolen bases.
Well, he can do just about everything you want as a baseball player. Defensively, offensively, he can run, hit for power, steal bases. But when you start having leg issues, and he's been hurt the last few years, that's the one thing. He was a triple machine earlier in his career.
Smacks this one right up the middle, and it's through. And Reyes makes it 3-0 Toronto.
Another 2-out base hit. Toronto starting to get that hit. That's a big hit for him, and it extends the lead to 3-0. Reyes, his first hit in 3 at-bats. That'll keep a smile on your face as a hitter. That ball down and in, and he just golfs it up the middle. So Toronto already with 4 hits. So the leadoff walk comes around to score.
Four hits, and yet somewhat misleading when you consider you had the pop-up that dropped in shallow right field. Normally that's an out. A ground ball that was hard hit, but it took a funny hop and ate up Swisher at first. You just look at how the breaks of the game sometimes goes.
The game of
Bottom of the first, Indians have 2 on, 1 out. Santana hits a hard ground ball to short, double play. In this inning, Toronto leadoff man aboard, Francisco, hits a weak ground ball. Doesn't hit it hard enough for a double play. The Indians only get the out at first. The runner goes to second. They advance him to third and get him home with a ground ball base hit. Melky Cabrera. Now, there was nothing cheap about his hit in the first inning.
No siree. He tried to turn the wind around. It just didn't make it. But he hit it about as hard as you can to right center field, and he already has 5 hits in the series. 6 at-bats.
Good pitch by Kluber, and it's 0-2. Two-strike pitch. Weakly hit toward left. Rayburn will make the grab. Toronto tacks on another run. We'll go to the bottom of the second. It's the Blue Jays 3 and the Indians nothing. Lead as we go to the bottom of the second here at Progressive Field. For the Tribe, Ryan Rayburn, Michael Brantley, and Yan Gomes. The good news is the sun is shining. Not a cloud to be seen, but that wind coming off the lake is a little on the cool side. Game time temperature just 44 degrees.
You know, and it's blowing in, so anytime you get that north wind coming off the lake, it knocks the baseball down.
Now they tell us tomorrow it's going to shoot up to near 70.
I will believe it when I see it.
When you feel it.
Yeah, when I feel it. That's right.
When I could leave the winter coat in the closet. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count here for Ryan Rayburn. Indians saw so many left-handers there in Chicago. Rayburn was a daily fixture in the lineup.
Yeah, they saw 4 in a row, and was it 5 out of 6?
Yeah.
When we went out on that trip.
2-2 hit hard, but fouled on the right side.
That's the one that takes you off everything else. The cutter inside if you're a right-handed hitter. That slow curveball. And the changeup away. That's really slow, but he left that one upstairs. But it's just another pitch he shows you.
harmlessly fouled on the right side.
You know, after watching Burley for years, I love watching him pitch because he comes right at you. Let's go. You're going to get me. I'm going to get you. He's got a great move. He holds runners close. He does the little things. He's nowhere close to knocking you off the radar gun. He just keeps you off the middle of the bat for the most part.
Right back to him, and he's always been a good glove man. He throws out Rayburn one away.
Well, there's one example of fielding your position. As I mentioned, holding runners. He's got a no-hitter, a perfect game. He can do pretty much anything. Remember the year? The first game of the year. 2010. The little shuffle between the legs.
And a perfect flip on the move to get Lou Marson on opening day. Now Michael Brantley looks at ball one down low. Brantley lifts one to center. Pretty well hit. Rasmus back and makes the grab. Well, last night the Indians left 12 men on base, 6 of them in scoring position, which leads us to Terry Francona and our Sounds of the Game brought to you by Hear Right Audiology.
I think when you're not scoring in bunches or trying to get the other runs in that don't necessarily take hits are important. You get a runner on third, less than 2 outs. Those are the important ones that we probably need to start, do better. We're going to get hits. 2-out hits are great, but, we've left some runners on third that's been costly for us.
Well, everything gets magnified, when you don't get the big 2-out base hit. Like Toronto today, they've got 2-out base hits, and it's 3-0, or it could be 1-0. But that's something they did very well last year. But it's early, and you go through cycles. We always say the toughest base hit to get is a 2-out RBI single. But the little things, get them over, get them in with outs. You don't have to get base hits when you can get a run. And defensively, when you're giving up extra runs and you're offensively not scoring, that doesn't help either.
Well, when you don't get the bunt down, as they did last night, when you don't get the sac fly or a ground ball when the infield's back, when you don't do those little things,
fundamental baseball,
and you're not scoring, they get magnified. And those 2-out RBI hits, as you said, they're nice. They're the toughest ones to get, and they will, maybe absolve a lot of sins. You'll start to overlook a lot of things because you're getting. But those, it's hard to count on the 2-out RBI hit.
Yes. You don't rely on it.
Close, but a little bit in off the plate. And Gomes will get another pitch here, 3-2 with 2 down and the base is empty here in the second, and Toronto leading it 3-0. The other thing I found interesting about Burley, we were told that when he pitches, he very rarely, if ever, shakes the catcher off. Whatever the catcher puts down, he rocks, and that's what he delivers.
Well, that's the key, is keeping him in rhythm. Because it doesn't take Mark Burley long.
Line drive, and that's going to drop for a base hit. Second hit of the game for the Indians. Comes with 2 outs here in the second inning. Out over the plate and just off the end of the bat. And Gomes drops it over the head of the second baseman, Goins. And now the Tribe will keep the inning alive for David Murphy, who went 1 out of 3 at the plate last night.
Okay, I'll put it back. I don't want you to beat me up.
1-1 to count now. It gets away from Navarro. Low pitch. He thought he had it smothered, but he didn't. And Yan Gomes goes down to second base.
That looked like it might be a pass ball. I mean, when you look at this, the pitch is going to be down. I don't know if it hit the out in front or not, but it trickles right between his legs, so it got under his glove. Yeah, they gave him a wild pitch.
Murphy stays patient. And a count 3-1 with Mike Aviles waiting on deck. Upstairs, ball 4. So a 2-out hit, a 2-out walk, and now Mike Aviles to the plate. Low and away, ball 1.
It's just the third walk for Burley this year.
Yeah, and that covers 22 2/3 innings.
Well, and it was his first wild pitch. That's why I wasn't sure if that ball hit the dirt. It looked like Navarro might have been able to block that.
Aviles showing good patience here, and it's 2-1. Bloop towards right field, but it's run down by Bautista, and the inning is over. No runs a hit, 2 men left. We'll go to the third, 3-0 Blue Jays. Saturday afternoon to stay tuned later in the ball game for Miller Time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Jose Bautista, Edwin Encarnacion, and Deanna Navarro for Toronto here in the third. And Kluber paints the outside corner with a strike. Breaking ball dips low, and Bautista lays off.
He got the base hit his last time up where you see the shift is on the left side of the infield. He hit that pop-up off the end over Swisher's head. With that wind pushing it in, he couldn't make the play. And drove in their first run.
Drives it to right field. David Murphy puts it away, 1 down.
Well, the first of 13 Sugardale Dollar Dog Nights will take place Friday, May 2nd. The Chicago White Sox will be in town. It'll be Dollar Dogs all night long, courtesy of Sugardale.
Edwin Encarnacion grounded out his only time up in the first. Kluber drops an off-speed pitch in there for a strike. Trying to hold up his swing, but he fouls it off, and it's 1-2.
Justin Masterson got deep into his kitchen yesterday in about the 5th inning. Remember, he shattered that bat, and it just exploded.
Hit in the air to right field. And again, David Murphy has it for out number 2.
You could let him hit it that way all day long.
Right now on FoxSportsOhio.com, check out Game Day Live and chat about the ball game. Sam Amico predicts potential changes for the Cavaliers and a full Blue Jackets Penguins preview. It's all on FoxSportsOhio.com. Deanna Navarro. Navarro hit a ground ball that kicked off of Nick Swisher for an RBI single in the first. You can almost set your watch to the fact that Deanna Navarro will put the ball in play. He strikes out once every 32 plate appearances, which is number 1 in the American League.
Well, sometimes you never get him to 2 strikes unless you get him to swing and miss because he always tries to put it in play earlier.
Yeah, whether or not that's necessarily a good thing, I don't know.
Well, it's better than when he first came up because obviously he knows the pitcher's better in the league now. But he would swing at everything when he first came up. I remember that. And he's not far from it now.
You know, it's interesting you say that, though. I was reading about a hitting coach who said, I'd rather have guys that are too aggressive. It's easier to tone it down than it is to tone it up.
Yeah. Well, that's 9 pitches for him and 6 swings today.
And he is out number 3. The Blue Jays go in order for the first time today. We'll go to the bottom of the 3rd. 3-0 Toronto.
means jobs and is not a tax increase. Voting yes on issue 7 helps protect our sports facilities and critical services. Get your vote by mail form at keepclevelandstrong.org.
As Dribble Cabrera started the game with a base hit. Takes low, ball 1. Rips this one hard to short. Backhanded by Reyes. Plants, throws on the money. 1 away here in the 3rd.
Well, he made the throw look easy. He gets over. A nice hop for him. Just plants the good, strong throw across right on the money for out number 1.
Up comes Nick Swisher, called out on strikes his first time up. Big curveball. Weekly tap back to the mound. 2 away. The Tribe wraps up this series against the Blue Jays tomorrow afternoon here at Progressive Field. Indians Live leads off the day's coverage at 12:30, and we'll have the first pitch at 1 o'clock. Well, as Rick told you before, with Mark Buehrle, you better get him early. So far this year, he hasn't given up a run after the 2nd inning. Almost hit him again.
He just comes right in there and throws something different every time up. There's no pattern you can really draw with him because if he's successful, he did go. Now he's down.
But that's the beauty of it. The pattern is the catcher setting it up because Burley's just saying, okay, let's throw it. Okay, here we go.
Let's go, Ben. Move it, move it, move it. And keeps the hitter off balance as well as anybody.
Now, obviously, he'll go over the hitters with the catcher before the ball game probably to get an idea.
Sure.
You would think. Maybe he doesn't. Who knows? So Kipnis patiently draws a walk with 2 out here in the 3rd. Great clip of the game from last night. Carlos Santana's first home run of the year, a 2-run shot. It gave the Indians a 2-1 lead at that time. But Santana up here in the 1st inning with 2 on and only 1 out. Hit into an inning-ending double play.
That was the 7th double play Carlos has hit into this year, which leads the league in that department. The Indians have hit into 17 of them. He's got 7. I'll tell you, the guys that love Mark Buehrle right now is his fielders out there that on a crisp, cool day with that wind's blowing, they're not standing around waiting because he is on the rubber. He is throwing. They are ready because any pitch could be hit to him at any time.
Santana waves at one up out of the strike zone. It's 2-2. Burley's 2-2. Full count. he's only thrown 2 more strikes than balls to this point in the game, so he's right around the 50-50 mark. But he just does not give in. Runner goes. Strike 3 called. 3 complete. Toronto 3, Cleveland nothing. Inning here at Progressive Field. Colby Rasmus, Brett Laurie, and Juan Francisco due up for the Blue Jays. Colby Rasmus flied to left his only time up. One week ago today, hit his 100th career home run. Came at Camden Yards in Baltimore. Up and in with it. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Oh, my goodness.
It will stay foul. Boy, that was close to being an excuse me base hit or maybe a double.
Exactly what it was. Excuse me. Just checking his swing, but with the shift over there. He didn't want any part of it, but it rolled foul.
Just inside, off the dish.
Pretty good pitch there with 2 strikes where you're going to try and tie up that hitter inside. It just, see, he wanted that movement to bring it back over the plate. But if you miss, that's a good spot to miss it, off the dish.
Hits that one in the air to left field again. And it's caught by Rayburn again for out number 1. The injury report today brought to you by Elk & Elk. Lorenzo Cain of the Royals down with a groin problem. The Kansas City will be here on Monday to open a 4-game series. And some pitching injuries for the Cardinals and Texas Rangers.
Boy, Texas, another pitcher on the DL. How many do they have on the DL? They had a few.
Brett Lawrie walked and scored in the second inning. Lawrie, the native of Langley, British Columbia. Hard smash to short. Cabrera throws him out, 2 away.
Families this year can save with KeyBank Kids Value Tickets. Ticket gets your kid $15 of loaded value for use on concessions or merchandise. Log on to Indians.com/kidsvalue today.
Juan Francisco bounced out his first time up. And a count 2-0. Up the middle it goes. And it was Cabrera behind Aviles who scooped it up and threw, but not in time as Francisco just does beat it out.
Almost looked like Aviles, like short-armed it. That looked like an easier play for him. It looked like the ball just got under his glove. I mean, I thought he had it all the way, and he never caught the ball. That's his. If he catches the ball, I thought he has the chance to throw it. Cabrera, that was a nice job of backing up. Weird play. Again, the shift. Two-out base hit for Francisco.
Another one up the middle. This one hit Kluber, and no play anywhere. Wow. So Ryan Goins just bounced one right back up the middle like Juan Francisco did. And now the Blue Jays have 2 on with 2 out.
Well, this one right off the end of the glove of Kluber. One hopper, there's the glove, and it goes straight up in the air. And he realizes once he doesn't catch it, nobody's going to make a play. Well, in the first 2 innings, Toronto came up with big 2-out base hits. Right now, very important, Corey Kluber can get this third and final out of the inning to keep it 3-0.
Well, this is the guy that got him his last time up, Jose Reyes, with a 2-out RBI single. That made it 3-0. Ball 1, it's up high. You talked about Reyes earlier and the fact that, he's been a tremendous player over his career, but injuries have derailed him of late. In his first 4 years in the big leagues, he averaged 158 games per season. In his last 5 years, that average has dipped to 109 games a year.
Yeah, and he's playing, one of the toughest positions to play, shortstop. And he's at the top of the lineup getting 600 at-bats a year as a switch hitter.
Talked about his great speed, and he's always a guy who has a lot of triples. Last year, the first time he didn't have a triple.
Right.
The 1-1 in the dirt, nicely smothered by Gomes.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, man. He's a slasher. He's no one way to play him. You got They're straight up in the outfield. For the most part, straight up on the infield, except Cabrera is shaded up the middle. That's about the only guy that is out of position.
Takes that for a strike. 2-2. The 2-2. To first, Swisher has it, and he'll go himself to end the inning. No runs, 2 hits, 2 men left. Last half of the fourth coming up. Toronto 3, Cleveland nothing.
Will take place Saturday, May 3rd. The White Sox will be in town as the Indians will host them. 10,000 fans. The first 10,000 will receive the bobblehead. That's courtesy of Meritech. Visit Indians.com for your tickets.
Ryan Rayburn leads off the bottom of the fourth for the Tribe here. He'll be followed by Michael Brantley, then Yan Gomes. Rayburn, a comebacker to the mound, his first time up. Just outside for ball one. Slowly chopped to short. Reyes on the move. Gets rid of it. 1 down. Tonight, Ryan Johansson and the Blue Jackets try to even up their series against Sidney Crosby and the Penguins in Game 2 of their opening round playoff series. The coverage begins tonight at 6:30 on Fox Sports Ohio. Michael Brantley flied to center back in the second inning. Big curveball, and it dropped in for a strike as Brantley was thinking about a bunt.
That would have been a great pitch to bunt. It's slow enough. That would have been a good one to take with you.
Down low, 2 balls and a strike.
There's the first 3 pitches to Brantley. The curveball, 69. Looked like a changeup, 77. That was 83. There's never the same speed twice. How
Burley
about
caught
that?
it. Did it come out of his glove? Must have. 2 down.
Second nice play of the afternoon by Mark Burley. He just sticks it down there, and it looks like it goes right into his glove. He falls off to the third base side, but watch. Our Wendy slow motion replay. Watch it just go right into the glove. It may fall out, but look, he puts his glove down right into the
It
webbing.
did short hop it, yeah. Wow. So Mark Burley, in addition to having he's throwing a perfect game.
Yeah,
No
hitter, right.
He's got a World Series ring.
He's done
Cy
it all.
Young Award.
Gold Glove.
Gold Glove.
Yeah. Yeah, not many guys, multiple no-hitters. He's one.
Two-strike pitch to Yan Gomes in the dirt. Well, the one in Chicago in which they made the late defensive substitution, and Dwayne Wise went into center field in the 9th inning, and then went over the fence and made it just an unbelievable catch to save that one. The 1-2.
Well, yeah, here you go. Burley's the only pitcher in the history of baseball that have thrown multiple no-hitters and earned more than one Gold Glove award. So he can do it all.
Slowly tapped towards short. Reyes again on the move. Throws again. Got him. 1, 2, 3 go the Indians. We'll go to the 5th. 3-0 Blue Jays.
Sunnyside Honda. Sunny will save you money. By Levin Furniture. And by Kia. Visit mykiacleveland.com to learn more.
Fifth inning now here. And the Toronto Blue Jays got 2 in the first. Added a run in the second. And Mark Burley's made it stand up to this point. Melky Cabrera, Jose Bautista, Edwin Encarnacion due for Toronto. Cabrera tripled in the first inning and came around to score the first run of the game. He has 5 hits and 7 at-bats in the series. That's fair.
Oh,
Another hit.
This guy's a hitting machine.
All the way down into the corner. Rayburn digs it out, but Cabrera's got a double.
His 6th hit in the first 2 games of this series. And that ball right down the third baseline. Aviles is going to dive for it. It gets down into the corner, so a double. He had a triple earlier in the game. So this guy, he's hit the ball with authority. 4 singles last night. He's working on his extra base hits today. As I mentioned, this is the first start that Kluber has ever made against Toronto.
Batista with a bunt. That is a weird, weird play. Jose Batista, who has one of the best home run swings in the game.
You don't know why he would do that, because you know what? He's a good enough hitter. He can go to right field if he wants. But he sees that Aviles is way back. And you know what? He figures they're going to give me a base hit. I'll try and take the base hit and also get him over to third base. So he was going for a base hit there. Wasn't a sacrifice attempt.
No. But if you're Mike Aviles, of course you're going to play back.
Well, you have to. But you're up 3-0.
Yeah.
So go for the jugular, man. You got to go out there and get him over and get him in. He can go to right field if he wants.
Right back to Kluber. He'll look the runner back. And Batista is out, number 1.
No matter what he does, it doesn't matter. He's hit so many home runs. You just do your thing to get him over, and he couldn't get it done.
In-game summary, this was a goofy play. A little pop-up that eluded Nick Swisher, and then a hard-hit ground ball that ate him up. Two runs in the first for Toronto, then in the second. With 2 outs, Reyes smacked one right back up the middle. It plated Brett Lawrie, who had walked to start the inning. That's all we have so far. Up comes Edwin Encarnacion. Wraps one on the ground to Asdrubal Cabrera, and he throws him out, 2 down. Time now for a Mazda game break. Back to the studios. Here's Al Pawlowski.
Matt Rick, today in the nation's capital, the Cardinals and the Nationals. Lance Lynn, a shutout through 4 innings, and yes, helping himself at the plate as well. This double will score a run to put the Cardinals ahead 3-0. That's been it thus far. 3-0 Cardinals. They're in the 5th in Washington, D.C. Matt?
All right, thanks, Al. Deanna Navarro. The Blue Jays catcher is 1 for 2 today. He's a switch hitter who is naturally a right-handed hitter, but he taught himself to switch hit when he was 13 years old. I suppose if there's a time to learn, that's not a bad time. You're kind of physically starting to come into your mature area. And
right. You don't want to be much later than that.
Competition's getting a little better. Everybody's starting to throw a little bit harder.
That's a lot of work if you wait. The longer you wait, I would think, the tougher it is.
Tried to hold up, but he went around. And it's 2-1. Navarro out of Venezuela. That's out of play. 52 out of 75 pitches for strikes today from Corey Kluber.
He does have his one walk. That was the first walk in his last 3 starts. And that was in the second inning, a leadoff walk that happened to come around and score.
Swing and a miss. Kluber strikes him out. That's his first K this afternoon. And we'll head to the bottom of the 5th. It remains 3-0 Blue Jays. Here on Sports Time Ohio, Jimmy will be with you for 2 hours. He's got tips for your game, talking PGA events tomorrow night starting at 8 on the Golf Zone with Jimmy Hanlon. It's always funny, right after the Masters, there's just sort of this lull in the golf world.
There is. It would be nice if you get out and play a little golf because you get the fix when you watch the Masters, though.
Mark Burley facing David Murphy, lefty-lefty matchup here. Burley walked his first time up, and the count is 1-1, and that's about where Burley's been all day. He's right around 50% balls and strikes. He's throwing a few more strikes.
Just never gives in to a hitter.
And as you said, what's really impressive and why he's been so good for so long is that he changes speed. So the hitter, you might expect an 83-mile-an-hour pitch, and then it comes in at 70-something.
Right.
Or then you're sitting 70, and that's coming in at 60. And then you're looking for 60, and it comes in at 80.
Yeah, it's just always off balance. That's the key to pitching. That's the art, and nothing's the same. He'll sink one. He'll throw a curveball. Next one will be a changeup. And the more anxious you get as a hitter, that's where he gets you.
Three-two, right back to him. You got to hit it to somebody else because he's too good.
He can field his position. He's made 3 decent plays today. You see, and he's always in position to field. That's the one thing. He doesn't overthrow. He doesn't fall to one side or the other. His glove is always down, ready for a ground ball hit up the middle. Look at that one. That was a little short hop. But you see, he's always ready for a baseball, knowing that if a guy puts it in play, he can go ahead and field his position. And we haven't really had an opportunity to show you how he can hold runners on because he's got an excellent move at first base as far as picking guys off. So, I mean, now when you're down by 3 runs, you have no chance to run. And for the most part, you don't have a chance to run anyway. He's that good.
Well, Vilas fights one off, and it's going to drop for a hit. Just the third hit of the game for the Indians, and a one-out base runner here in the fifth inning.
And this is where Burley gets better, is when he has runners on base. There's the breaking ball. It got down around the trademark, inside. So he fights it off, gets it into left field, hit number 3 for the Tribe, a one-out single. All 3 hits have been singles. But they really haven't been able to advance. They did have first and second and one out in the first inning, got the double play.
Let's go downstairs and check in with Katie Witham. She's got more on that pickoff move by Burley.
Well, as you guys mentioned, he may have the best pickoff move in the game. Why he's so good? He does a very good job varying his tempo to home plate. He works quick when he's out there. But the biggest thing Terry Francona said is his leg lift is exactly the same when he throws to home as well as throwing to first base. And that's rare to see in a starting pitcher.
So then, in essence, you can't get a jump. You have to guess with him.
Exactly.
And when his foot's in the air, he can, if he sees you break, he can always throw to first base. And it's been that way. You can see Carlton leads the way. Pettit was always so good. And then right behind him is Burley. Mark Langston, a great athlete.
Well, as Dribble Cabrera got a base hit back in the first inning, grounded out his last time up.
Here it is when he's going home. And you know what? It's the same thing when he's coming to first. It's just that his arm comes the other way. Rubber man.
Hit foul. Upstairs, 1 ball, 2 strikes. And I would think if you're Mike Aviles, you're not even going to get his best move in this kind of a situation because Burley knows you're not really going to try to steal here.
Right. You're down 3 runs. He doesn't have to throw over there if he doesn't want to. When he knows, he'll get you fishing. But you're right. It's not a running situation. There's 1 out already in the inning. He's just in total control. If he gets to a 3-2 count, he may throw over there. Just to keep you honest.
Mm-hmm. Cabrera hits a ground ball to third. Laurie goes to second. There's 1 on to first. Backhanded by Encarnacion for an inning-ending double play. Second one the Indians have hit into here this afternoon, and we'll go to the 6th. They still trail at 3-0. our AT&T fan photo. You can tweet us your photos by tweeting them to us using the hashtag STOFanPhoto for a chance to be shown later in one of our telecasts. For Toronto here in the 6th inning, Kobe Rasmus, Brett Laurie, and Juan Francisco do up. Rasmus has flied to left twice today. Swing and a miss.
Are you getting up tomorrow morning going hunting? Yeah, you are. You going to hide eggs?
Nothing in 2 the count. The great Bo Jackson once held the Alabama high school single-season record for home runs. And then Kobe Rasmus came along and broke it when he had 24 home runs in his senior season. And Columbus, Georgia. That's just the second strikeout for Corey Kluber, and they've come consecutive now. The last batter of the 5th, the leadoff man here in the 6th.
Looked like a nice little breaking ball on the outside part of the plate. Right on the edge. Rasmus comes up empty.
Kluber with good run on that pitch, but it ran off the plate for ball 1. Mentioned before that Laurie hails from Langley, British Columbia. He's still the highest Canadian position player ever selected in the draft. He was a 16th overall pick when the Blue Jays selected him. And as Dribble Cabrera throws about here. Two down. And up comes Juan Francisco. Good breaking ball over the outside corner. Juan Francisco was released by the Brewers with about a week to go in spring training this year. And the Blue Jays signed him on April the 2nd.
Well, with Lind with the bad back going on the DL today.
Yeah.
They needed a first baseman / DH, I guess.
Now the 2-1. That'll even the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Wow. That was a terrific looking pitch. But it's called a ball. And it's now a full count. Take another look here.
Yeah, I know it is a good-looking pitch. The only thing you can say is got to be, I guess, a little high. Back in the old days, that's a strike.
Missed inside, ball 4. So a 2-out walk keeps the inning alive. And it brings up Ryan Goins. Goins with a hit now in 5 of his last 7 games. Hit in the air to center field. Michael Brantley. He's there. He's got it. And we move to the bottom half of the 6th inning. It remains Toronto 3, Cleveland nothing. Go to the bottom half of the 6th. For the Tribe, Nick Swisher, Jason Kipnis, and Carlos Santana due up. Good to hear Fletcher Wilkes checking in with us on this fine afternoon.
Yes, he certainly is. You know, he's watching down there in about 90-degree weather.
Well, he is Mr. Alabama.
Yes, he is.
That pitch down low.
Letting us know when you were talking about Colby Rasmus about the home run title that he took away from Bo. Sent me a text to tell me where he was from.
He makes his home in Phoenix City.
Right.
Yeah. He was born in Columbus. Remember, the Indians had a farm club in Columbus, Georgia, the Red Sticks, for a long time.
But how do the people from Alabama pronounce Phoenix? Phoenix. That's what he sent. Phoenix City.
It's actually spelled that way.
Is it?
Yeah. The national championship game in Division III used to be held there for years. Pitch outside. Nick Swisher called out on strikes in the first, tapped one back to the mound in the third. And now Swish leading off here in the home half of the 6th. And he pops him up. Third baseman Brett Laurie makes the catch. And that is out number 1.
Burley's allowed 3 hits in the ballgame, all 3 singles.
Just watch where his location is. It's away, sinking, down, off speed. He'll cut him in. He'll slow curve you. He locks you up. He has 2 double play balls. So, I mean, you sit back and you'll watch this ball game. You say, how can't they hit this guy? Well, try and hit him. When you go up into the batter's box, he gets right back on the rubber, and we told you at the start of the game, every 15 seconds he's going to throw a pitch.
Hard hit ground ball, but a one-hopper at Goins. 2 down.
And if you don't get him, he's going to get you, and it's going to be in a hurry. Only 2 hitters have swung at the first pitch against him today.
Well, we had Jake Westbrook back in the early 2000s, and when Westbrook and Burley would hook up occasionally, you knew it was going to be quick.
Because we have an hour and 56-minute game with him one time, I believe.
Might have been opening day.
I think it was. But he makes you look at. You would think more pitchers would work like that.
Santana tees off, but might have gotten too much air under it. And Cabrera runs it down in front of the wall for out number 3. The Tribe goes in a hurry, and we go to the 7th, 3-0 Blue Jays.
Panini's overstuffed cam on a beautiful sunshiny day. A little cool, little brisk, wind blowing in out of the north, but it is a bright sunny day here downtown Cleveland, but the Indians are trailing 3-0 here. Kluber has done a decent job. 3 runs were scored, 2 in the first inning, 1 in the second, and it's been zeros ever since. He's walked a pair, struck out a pair.
Jose Reyes going to lead off. He's 1 for 3 on the day. You know, the 2 runs that they scored in the first inning was some bad breaks for Corey Kluber.
Yes, it was. Tough breaks, yeah.
Right back to him. 1 away.
You know, like you say, a couple of tough breaks, but after that he settled in and made his pitches. They had a couple of 2-out base hits, but he got a feel for that changeup, his breaking ball where he had the 2 strikeouts, both coming in a row. Back to end the 5th and start the 6th. So he has made, this is his 7th start against an American League East team. He's still looking for his first win. He doesn't have a win. He's 0-3 against the East. First time he's ever faced the Toronto Blue Jays.
Fastball strike to Melky Cabrera. He's 2 for 3 today with a triple and a double.
The only two teams that he has not yet faced to go are the Angels of Los Angeles, and I'm sure he'll get a chance this year, in Seattle.
Low and away. Well, if everything stays on schedule, he will pitch one of those games in Anaheim against the Angels. Bullseye. Struck him out looking. Third K for Kluber. 2 down here in the 7th.
He comes inside with a heater. Watch this one come back over the plate where Cabrera gives up on it. There's the movement we were talking about earlier in the game where he has so much movement. Katie told us about it. That's one. That's a perfect pitch, and he's getting a feel for it.
Now Jose Bautista 1 for 3 on the day. And takes a strike. Jose Bautista is just 5 home runs shy of Jesse Barfield for 5th place on the Blue Jays all-time home run list. He's hit 174 in Toronto. His career is an interesting one. He was originally drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates, developed by the Pirates. Then the Orioles took him as a Rule 5 pick out of the Pirates organization. And then he bounced around to a couple different organizations, wound up back with Pittsburgh, and that's really where he got his first big league opportunities. Hammered foul.
Boy, and then went to Toronto and started hitting some bombs. Turned into one of the premier power hitters in this league a few years ago.
Down in the dirt.
Man, this is a guy that he played third. Then they moved him to the outfield. He's a pretty good athlete and can play a couple of different positions.
Draws the walk here. Time for a Mazda game break. Back to the studios with Al Pulowski.
Matt, let's head to Fenway Park. Orioles taking on the Red Sox. 1-1 game here in the bottom of the 4th inning, and Big Papi David Ortiz turns on one. That's a solo home run, his 3rd of the year. Red Sox in the lead now 2-1. 5th inning in Boston. Matt?
All right, thanks, Al. Here is Edwin Encarnacion, 0 for 3. Encarnacion, like his teammate Jose Bautista, always had terrific potential, but neither one of these guys put up the kind of numbers that would lend you to believe, oh, they're on the verge of hitting 40 or 50 home runs and driving in over 100. And then they just did it. Boom. I mean, Jose Bautista, his numbers are eye-popping in terms of where he came from and then what he did. The last year, his first full year with the Blue Jays, he hit 13 homers and drove in 40 in 113 games. Next year, he played 161 games, hit 54 homers, and drove in 124.
My goodness.
And Yan Gomes can't quite get to it. So, I mean, you go from 13 homers to 54 the next year.
It's 40.
That's going to have some people going, whoa, what happened?
No doubt.
Where'd
It was
this
like
come
Brady
from?
Anderson with Baltimore back in the day.
Encarnacion, for his part, I mean, he had some decent years. In 08, he hit 26 homers for Cincinnati. But in 2011 with Toronto, he hit 17 dingers, drove in 55. The very next year, 42 homers and 110 RBIs. Good pitch in there for a strike. And it's 2-2. I mean, it's one thing to say, oh, that's just great scouting. We knew that was in there. We knew it was going to happen. But you can't predict that the power surge is coming like that.
That's quite a turnaround for any hitter at any time.
And what I think is interesting about both of them, it's not like they came from different parks and just, hey, they ran into the Rogers Center and it became a paradise for them. They both had a full season there prior to that breakout season and still didn't give any indication that this was right around the corner.
Yeah, but what makes you go from 13 to 54 or things like that? It's I don't know.
We've seen the bat speed, tremendous bat speed.
There's no one hitting coach. I know Murphy was there with him for a while,
Yeah.
Dwayne Murphy, and Gene Tennis was over there, I believe, for a little while. I don't know. The light bulb goes off.
And the 2-2. And that's driven hard, deep left field. Back is Rayburn. Plays it off the wall. Played it well. Really well played. Throws a little offline, but at least they held Batista to third base with 2 down. And Encarnacion, that was going to be a double pretty much any way you slice it.
Yeah, that's a hanging breaking ball that he's able to hit off the wall. He's lucky that one stayed in the ballpark.
He almost came out of his toe hold swinging.
Yeah, 2 outs, and you're off and running anyway, but even if the throw goes over the head of Cabrera, he was nowhere going to be close to scoring. It's almost like if you get that ball quickly to Cabrera, they might have had a chance for Encarnacion at second base. I don't know if anybody was there, though. So Mickey Callaway coming out to talk.
We have action in the Tribe bullpen. You see the left-hander Mark Zubczynski.
Well, this is the last hitter, I would think, then for Kluber. Lefty on deck, Rasmus. So you'd like to get and push Kluber through 7 if you could.
This will be his 110th pitch of the afternoon. And he's going to bloop one into left center, and that's going to score a couple.
Yeah, another 2-out base hit.
Deanna Navarro really breaks the back of Corey Kluber with a 2-out, 2-run single to make it 5-0 Blue Jays. Navarro has driven in 3 of the 5 runs for Toronto here this afternoon.
Yeah, I gave him a little too much swinging room there with the ball out over the plate. The third 2-out base hit for Toronto did in Corey Kluber today. The 2-out base hits. Francona gave him every opportunity to get out of it. He could not, so he has to remove him from the ball game.
25% of Deanna Navarro's RBIs for the year have come this afternoon in this ball game. And that hit knocks Kluber out. Today's Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen will be for the left-hander Mark Zubczynski. 5-0. And they've done it with the 2-out hitting so far here today. They've gone 6 out of 12 in 2-out situations in the ballgame. And the backbreakers have been the 2-out RBI hits. In fact, all of their runs, right? Well, all but one.
Yeah, that's right. 4 out of the 5.
Mark Zipchinski to face Colby Rasmus, who is 0 for 3. Lefty-lefty matchup here. Takes a called strike, does Rasmus.
Zipchinski came into yesterday's ball game. He took the L. He came in relief of Justin Masterson in the 7th inning. Gave up a couple of base hits.
Swung out and missed. It's 0-2.
That's what we were talking about earlier, those 2-out base hits. If you get them as a team, you look great. When you don't get them, it's a tough go. You've got to do everything right.
Well, the inning is over, but Toronto has done the damage. 2 more 2-out runs, and they lead it 5-0. 7th inning stretch is brought to you by Spitz. Tire Express and Total Car Care comes your way after the ball game here on Sports Time Ohio. Ryan Rayburn is 0 for 2 here this afternoon, grounding out twice.
Well, I think the fans in that 7th inning stretch have to get up, get a little warmer, move down to the sunshine. Because when Mark Burley's been out on the mound, he has not been out there for any length of time. The longest he's been out there, he had an 8-minute 2nd inning. And he has only been out there for 31 minutes out of the first 6 innings. So that tells you how quickly he grabs the ball, throws it, throws strikes, and gets his work done.
Catch made by Ryan Goins, and 1 out here in the 7th. You brought it up earlier. Why don't more pitchers pattern themselves after Burley's approach?
I don't understand.
I'm not saying you want to try to be Mark Burley.
No.
But why not look at his approach and say, hey, maybe that'll work for me?
I don't know. I've often tried to figure it out. I think power pitchers, some guys will work quickly when they're out of the full windup, and then they get into the stretch or base runners and they completely change. It's a different animal. This guy gets better when he gets guys on base, and he just continues to work quickly. He grabs the ball, let's go, and he makes the hitters go. I can't figure it out why more guys wouldn't try and do it.
Do you think it has anything to do with the whole notion of young pitchers? It takes them a little longer to learn to pitch to contact. In other words, they want
their stuff.
They want to try to miss bats, and
very well could be that could be, but.
Burley's obviously not afraid to here it is, try and hit it.
We've watched him for years. This guy, he goes out there, you look at him, he's going to give you 200 innings, he's going to make 30 starts, he's going to win you at least 10 ball games every year, and he's done it since, 2000 or 2001? Why wouldn't more people pattern themselves after him? He's a guy that doesn't mess around. He's got a great attitude. He enjoys the game of baseball. He's been very successful. And he just goes out with the same approach night after night after night when he's on the mound.
He's only struck out 2 today.
He doesn't care about a strikeout. He'd rather get a first pitch out.
And he's walked 2, which is a lot for him.
Well, yes. Coming in his first 3 starts, he had walked 2 prior to that. And in his other starts, he's given up a run, 1 in the first inning, 1 in the second. He hasn't let a team score after the second inning. And they already had 3 runs after 2 innings. So, in essence, you look, oh, boy, they had to feel good about themselves with this guy on the mound.
Well, anybody who was ready to write him off after last year, you might want to rethink that, because Burley is back, and he appears to be better than ever.
May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians.
Five 0 Toronto. 8th inning now. Mark Zipchinski, who got the last out of the 7th, will stay on for Cleveland. Brett Lawrie walked and scored back in the 2nd. He's grounded out twice since then. Earlier this week against Minnesota, Lawrie had a grand slam against the Twins, part of a 5 RBI day. 3-1 to count. And now 3-2. Back-to-back left-handed hitters in the Toronto lineup after Laurie, which is why Terry Francona wants to stay with Zipchinski here in this 8th inning. He does have a right-hander, Blake Wood, up in the pen. Walks the leadoff man. And up comes Juan Francisco. In-game box score, courtesy of your local Hyundai dealers. And for Toronto today, the guys at the top have been doing the damage.
2-out singles. 4 out of the 5 runs they've had scored with 2 outs. So some clutch hitting by Toronto this afternoon.
To center field, and Michael Brantley will make that grab for out number 1. That's going to bring up Ryan Goins. I told you before, Jose Bautista is only 5 homers shy of tying Jesse Barfield for 5th on the Toronto all-time home run list. Well, Ryan Goins last year had an 8-game hitting streak to begin his major league career, and that tied the Toronto record that was set by Jesse Barfield in 1981 for
They're going after Jesse this year, huh?
Longest hit streak to start a career. Of course, his son Josh was a part of the Indians' 07 team that won the Central Division. Got deep into the playoffs. 1-2 pitch. Little tapper. It stays fair. Gomes looked to second. He'll take the out at first. 2 down. Laurie does advance into scoring position. That stayed right on the chalk.
Well, I think a wise move by Gomes to just get the out at first base. He thought about throwing it to second base. So this is where Toronto's been good. Reyes had 1 2-out base hit, and then Navarro has had the other 2.
Yeah, Reyes fouled that off of his own foot. Five-0 Blue Jays They had 2 in the first, 1 in the second, and then 2 more in the 7th. Popped him up. Should end the inning. Swisher makes the grab. We'll go to the last half of the 8th. Drive down 5. In their series opener tonight, it's Game 2, and our coverage begins at 6:30 on Fox Sports Ohio. Mark Burley slicing and dicing here this afternoon. He set down the last 7 in a row.
Well, just 3 hits on the afternoon. He has been in total command of this ball game. 101 pitches for Burley now, but I don't think that matters.
13 ground ball outs, 5 fly ball outs, just the 3 strikeouts. David Murphy, he flares one into left field, and the Indians have a leadoff single here in the 8th.
Second time today they've had the leadoff man aboard. Cabrera did it back in the first. Led off the game with a single. Murphy now going to take this ball the other way. Four hits, all singles.
And Mike Aviles the batter. Low and away. Upstairs and away, 2-0.
I like your nicknames.
And that one had Burley looking in for a double take. 3-0. Aviles gets aboard, and Asdrubal Cabrera is coming up next. And he will. He'll bat with 2 on and nobody out. As the Indians try to make some noise late, and John Gibbons may have seen enough. Burley pitching into the 8th inning. He's well over 100. And that's going to be it. So we've got a timeout here in Cleveland. Indians down 5, but they've got their first 2 on in the 8th with nobody out. Mark Burley getting the start today for Toronto, 7+ innings. Gave up 4 hits, walked 3, struck out 3, hit a batter, 1 wild pitch, but a whole lot of weak ground ball outs, and he has not allowed a run, though he is responsible for the 2 on base as he departs here in the 8th inning. Now, Esmail Rogers, coming in for the Blue Jays, has given up an earned run in 3 out of the 6 appearances that he has worked in this year, and he's also allowed 4 home runs already. He'll be facing Asdrubal Cabrera.
Well, that's what the Indians could use right here. Is a home runner, just a base hit to get on the board. Crowd has really had nothing to cheer for yet.
Swung out and missed. Rogers, of course, a teammate of many of these Indians a couple of years ago here in Cleveland before he was dealt to Toronto before last year. And the 1-1. Breaking ball in for a strike. Murphy, the runner at second. Aviles in the foreground at first base. And Cabrera swung at a ball that almost hit him in the back leg.
I mean, now it's getting to the point, too, where you think, man, these hitters are feeling it, you know, because this is a pitch that's not even close, and Cabrera chases it. I mean, that one bounced into the dirt, and you protect him with 2 strikes, but not to the point where you're swinging at everything. They get runners in base, and they are really pressing.
Nick Swisher is 0 for 3 on the day.
They were 0 for 9 last night and 5 strikeouts with runners in scoring position. They're at .215 on the year before this game.
Up and away. And it's 2-0. Takes a strike. It's 2-1. The 2-1. And back to even now.
He goes down and away in that strike zone. The outside edge, that's a pretty tough pitch right there.
And the 2-2 is swung out and missed. Back-to-back strikeouts by Rogers, and there are 2 down in the 8th.
Comes back with another breaking ball. This one a little better to hit, but Swisher comes up empty. So Rogers comes in, and he's putting that fire out with runners on first and second, and back-to-back strikeouts.
Jason Kipnis has been hit by a pitch. He's walked, and he is grounded out. And it's strike 1. Well, Rogers, who's been banged around a lot early in the season, is very sharp here this afternoon and giving John Gibbons exactly what he needed. Fastball just out the outside edge. A little bit low, and the count 2-1.
He's got a good feel for his slider.
Yeah, he does.
You know, he's been out there. He fell behind with Swisher, and he comes back with 3 straight sliders. So you can tell he's got a feel. And that one down and away, he might have chased after one down in the zone. So he's back into the count now.
Right back. 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Kipnis was right there to greet it. Stays 2 balls and 2 strikes. Indians had their first 2 on in the inning, but then back-to-back strikeouts. Leaves it up to Kipnis as the Tribe tries desperately to get back in the game. Bangs it foul. Kipnis had 3 hits yesterday. Swinging the bat much better of late. Takes low and a full count. Murphy and Aviles will be off now with a 3-2 pitch. And Carlos Santana would be next. Popped in the air to center field. Back is Rasmus, still going back. Makes the catch a little off balance, as the wind might have played some tricks with that one, but he makes the grab, and the inning is over. Highlights, analysis, and a whole lot more. It's all brought to you by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care. Blake Wood on for the Tribe here in the 9th. He's got Melky Cabrera, Jose Batista, and Edwin Encarnacion due up for Toronto. Blake Wood last worked in Detroit, 2/3 of a scoreless inning against the Tigers. That came in the series finale on Thursday. Melky Cabrera has had a good series already with 6 hits, 4 singles, a double, and a triple. Slashed foul, look out. Just beyond the Indians' dugout.
Yeah, that gets in and out of the seats in a hurry.
In off the plate. 3 balls and a strike. Blake Wood ready, 3-1 pitch, and Melky Cabrera couldn't hold up. Full count. And strike 3 called. Wood strikes him out. One down here in the top of the 9th. Looking back at our keys to the game, courtesy of Akron Children's Hospital. Well, you have to score to get a shutdown inning opportunity, and that hasn't happened today for the Tribe. And Mark Burley, he was vintage Mark Burley here.
Yeah,
this
he
afternoon.
sure was.
Jose Bautista takes a strike. A little bit low, 1-1. Upstairs.
Indians trying to get through a game with less than 4 pitchers since the first time since April 9th. 8 games ago. Wood, he is the third of the day. Kluber went 6 2/3. Zubchinski an inning and a third.
Again, Wood misses high, 3-1. Fouled right back above our head and to the upper deck. Encarnacion waits in the on-deck circle. Bautista with a 3-2 count. Hit high in the air, left field. Rayburn coming in. 2 down. And now we'll see Edwin Encarnacion who is 1 for 4 today, 2 for 8 now in the series. And he gets ahead with a fastball belt high. Bounced foul, third base side. It's 0-2. For the Indians in the bottom of the ninth, it'll be Carlos Santana, Ryan Rayburn, Michael Brantley due up. Elsewhere in the Central this afternoon, Detroit beating the Angels 4-1 in the 7th. Kansas City leads Minnesota 5-2. They're in the 5th at Kauffman. Swing and a miss. Blake Wood strikes him out. And the Blue Jays go 1-2-3. We'll go to the bottom of the ninth. Tribe down 5. Early in the ball game, Melky Cabrera got into one of the first, just beyond the reach of David Murphy in deep right center field. Then a little pop-up in shallow right. Nick Swisher couldn't quite get under it to make a play. Then a pass ball on a runner to get into scoring position. That led to an unearned run. That ball ate up Swisher on the 2-out ground ball. And just like that, it was 2-0 Toronto. They added a run in the second with a 2-out RBI single, and 2 more in the 7th on the 2-out 2-run single. Now here in the bottom of the 9th, Esmail Rogers, who worked a scoreless 8th, will stay on. He'll face Carlos Santana to lead off. Carlos Santana banged into a double play to end the first inning. Fly to deep left his last time up in the 6th. Rogers gets ahead 1-2. Santana clobbers one to deep right field. Bautista back. Makes the grab. Remember Roy Hobbs in The Natural?
Yeah.
How about Martin Maldonado last night? He did the same thing. He hit the cover off the ball. Pedro Alvarez tried to throw it to first, but look at that.
Unbelievable. That had to hit right on the seam. Now, look, he knew something felt weird, and it barely made it to first base. Look at that. Literally knocked the cover off the ball.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
I don't know. Maybe in a cartoon.
Maybe in the backyard where we had baseballs are already threadbare to begin with.
10 years old. That is amazing.
They'll probably send that baby back to Rawlings HQ to determine what went wrong with this baseball. Rayburn chases one up high. He strikes out, 2 down. Third strikeout for Esmil Rogers. And the Indians are down to their last out.
Could have been the first triple of the game.
So far this year, the Indians have pitched 2 shutouts, but they have not been shut out to this point. But they're on the verge here this afternoon. Rogers ready, the 2-0 to Brantley. Taken, it's a called strike. Same 2 teams tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock as we wrap up the series on Easter Sunday. We'll have the action for you at 1 o'clock right here on STO. And between then and now, Terry Francona will scratch his head and try to figure out what he can do to get the bats going. Although today, I think you have to look at Mark Burley. Brantley draws a walk to keep the inning going. And the batter will be Yan Gomes, who is 1 for 3 on the day. Rogers misses up and in, ball 1. Check the swing, and it goes foul at the first base side. 1-1 to count. Rogers comes set, and the 1-1 to Gomes. Esmail Rogers, who worked a 1-2-3-8, got the first 2 here in the ninth. He's thrown 33 pitches.
Down to his last strike.
John Gibbons telling first baseman Juan Encarnacion, don't worry about Brantley. Get the out. Upstairs with it, 2-2.
Well, this one coming up and in. He's had a very good slider today that he's been able to command, but that's not the slider. That's the fastball that backs you up.
And the 2-2 is swung out and missed. That'll end the ball game. And the Blue Jays have won the first 2. And they've got a chance to complete the sweep now tomorrow afternoon. Indians are blanked for the first time on the year, as Mark Burley just really was dominant here this afternoon. I said at the time he was vintage, and I think that's probably the best description, because he looked like Mark Burley in his absolute prime, which he may be this year the way he's throwing the ball. He goes to 4-0 on the year. What's his updated ERA now, Tommy? 0.64 now for Burley through his first 4 starts of the year, and he's perfect 4-0.
Well, we've seen games where he's been out and he has been dominant. When the Indians have had success against him, they get him a little bit early, but he was on his game today.
He didn't need a whole lot of help the way he was pitching. It was a 3-0 game, and then in the 7th inning, Deanna Navarro delivered the key play of the game for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, and that's what Toronto did today. The 2-out base hit was their big thing. And then Navarro just put it out of reach. Kluber with a chance to get through 7 for the 3rd out. But Navarro got that base hit and really put it out of reach. It could have been out of reach earlier, but that made it 5-0. So that is our KeyBank play of the game, brought to you by KeyBank.
So the Blue Jays a winner here this afternoon. And they've got a chance to sweep the 3-game series now tomorrow at 1 o'clock here at Progressive Field. For those of you celebrating the Easter holiday, have a safe weekend. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock as the Indians and Blue Jays finish the series here in Cleveland.